Peace doesn't feel peaceful. This is one of the signs of being stuck in survival mode. That feeling of dread. Something bad will happen if we don't get up and do. That taking space feels as a waste of time. This is what is happening when the nervous system has been running too hot, too long. And when the body can't find safety in peace, it starts to treat stillness like a threat. So instead of being able to go slow, it becomes a chase for more, a chase for stimulation. Sugar, music, scrolling, anything that lights us up. But here's the problem. The same things that give relief in the moment keep our systems activated in the long run. So in this video, I'll tell you what survival mode actually looks like in everyday life. Why slowing down can feel so uncomfortable when we're stuck in survival. And 3 things I changed to get myself out of survival. Before we get into what survival mode looks like, I want you to imagine walking through your house at night. The lights are off. You know where the couch is, where the hallway turns, where the coffee table is, but not well enough that you're not going to slam your leg into it. So you move careful, tense, slow. That's what survival mode does. Puts us on the defense, looking for what's wrong. And as that continues, all of life goes through that lens. You adjust, compensate, and it happens without even realizing it. Until one day, this is just how I am. That's why survival mode can be hard to see, because we live inside of it, take care of responsibilities with the clock on the line, make plans with the force pushing us, but the whole time still moving through the dark. So what does survival mode look like? Because I think a lot of people hear survival mode and picture someone fully panicking, shaking, breathing fast, eyes wide, totally overwhelmed. And yeah, it can look like that. But most of the time, survival mode is sneakier than that. It's harder to spot because we're social creatures. We're wired for connection. We're wired to belong. So what does survival mode actually look like? Because I think a lot of us hear survival mode and picture someone fully panicking, shaking, breathing fast, eyes wide, totally overwhelmed. And yeah, it can look like that. But most of the time, survival mode is sneakier than that. It's harder to spot because we're social creatures. We're wired for connection. We're wired to belong. So your body is not only watching for physical danger, it's also watching for social danger, which, to be honest, is the more present threat for most of us. And there's actually research that shows how real this is. In a study on social rejection and pain, the core finding was that when someone experienced social rejection, brain regions associated with physical pain got activated. Meaning rejection does not just hurt as an idea. The body can register it as pain. Which means whether it's a tiger or a mean girl, the body responds in a similar way, but with one key difference. We wear a mask because to freak out, run away, hit someone is not socially acceptable. Because to threaten our social standing is to threaten our survival. This survival mode starts showing up in 5 main ways in the body. Before I name them, I want to say something. You may not feel all of these clearly. You may not even recognize them while they're happening because we're suppressing them for social reasons. And our brain has limitations and it's focusing all your attention on one thing, your immediate survival. And those immediate threats are in the outside world. And when your system is focused outside of you, watching the room, reading the text, studying the person's face, thinking about what might go wrong, you can completely miss what is happening inside your own body. So this is not about checking every box perfectly. It's about noticing the pattern. The first cue is hyperarousal. Hyperarousal is when your system feels turned up. Everything feels louder, faster, more urgent. You can't really settle this restless feeling. It's not always panic. Sometimes it's just this constant internal pressure. The body saying, move, solve, prepare, stay alert, don't stop. That's hyperarousal. The second cue is tension. This is where the body tightens around the threat. The breathing gets shallow, the jaw clenches, shoulders get tight. This is the body winding up to act, gathering potential energy, so when the time is right, we can move. But holding this tension long gets exhausting, which, if we're in social settings, happens a lot. The third cue is external focus, because the attention is pushed so hard toward the outside world, it takes away awareness of how tight or hyper-aroused we are. This outside focus takes the form of hypervigilance. It's time to find the threat. The brain starts scanning, not in a calm, thoughtful way. It's more like your brain starts playing a speed round of Where's Waldo? Except it's not looking for Waldo. Your mind is trying to find the threat before it finds you as fast as it can, in the smallest places it can, because the stakes are high. We have to get it right. And because your brain is moving so fast, everything starts to look like it might be a danger Waldo. Which means if all the focus is outward, there's no focus on you. The fourth cue is the circuit breaker. This is what happens when the system has been on too long or the volume gets too intense. The body says, I can't keep feeling this, so it cuts power. Not completely, but enough that you can keep going. This can look like brain fog, numbness, checking out, feeling disconnected from the body, emotions, desires, and even the people around us. And I like calling this a circuit breaker because it's the best metaphor what's happening in the body. Your body is not failing. It's working to prevent an overload. When the system is taking in too much pain, too much fear, too much pressure, too much stimulation, it flips the breaker, dims the lights. And that distance helps us get through the moment. But it's not the same as peace. It's not the same as being grounded and present in your life. It keeps you alive and moving, but not fully here. The fifth cue is helplessness. This is when action feels impossible, but doing nothing also feels awful. You know you need to do something, make a decision, have that conversation, but something inside you feels locked. And then the mind can get mean. I'm lazy, what's wrong with me? Why can't I speak up for myself? It's what happens when the body does not feel safe enough to move. Not forward or backwards, not left or rights. So it stays still on the outside, but it builds energy inside. Because in survival, you need the perfect moment to strike. I had a client come in while they're going through divorce, and they couldn't stop having these angry thoughts. It was affecting their relationships with their kids. And they were having revenge fantasies, hopeless thoughts, and also locked down from doing anything. The inner critic kept playing, I'm not good enough, I hate this person, over and over. Because there was nothing they could do. That's the tricky thing. Helplessness can look like collapse on the outside. But on the inside, the mind is spinning out of control. Revenge, blame, shame, self-attacks. Because it does not know where to put the energy. So survival mode is not just one system, it's a pattern. Hyperarousal, tension, external focus, the circuit breaker, helplessness. So if survival mode is a pattern, the next question is why is it so hard to slow down? Because from the outside, slowing down sounds obvious. You're overwhelmed, rest. Tense, relax. Exhausted, take a break. And yeah, that sounds nice. But when the body's stuck in survival, slowing down does not feel like relief. And there are three reasons for that. The first reason is, how are you supposed to calm down when the threat is still out there? If the task is still incomplete, if the person hasn't texted back, if that relationship still feels shaky. Because to the nervous system, unfinished, unclear, and unresolved all feel unsafe. So even when you sit down, your body is still leaning forward, still scanning. The second reason is, when we slow down, everything that's been ignored starts coming to the surface. The body reminds the pains that are there, the sadness that we didn't have time for, the anger that had nowhere else to go, the loneliness that's been avoided. And that can be a lot. That's why people say, I tried meditating and it made me feel worse. Or I finally had a day off and I suddenly felt anxious. Or the second the things got quiet, the mind went crazy. It doesn't mean slowing down is bad. It means the system has been holding a lot. Which gets us to the third reason. You lose the high, that dopamine high that was numbing out the pain. Phone, sugar, exercise, music, sex. Pick your flavor. Even worrying gives us something. A little hit of control, relief, reward. When we slow down, the body chemistry changes. And that drop can feel flat, boring, empty, painful. And when the body has been living off intensity, peace can feel like nothing is happening. And when nothing is happening, a survival system starts looking for something to happen. Looking for a problem, the next task, the next high, and for that danger Waldo hiding somewhere in the picture. So this is the loop. Your body feels unsafe or uncomfortable. Reach for stimulation for relief. Stimulation works for a moment, but it also activates the system more, needing to reach. Then all of this crashes to depletion. And that loop can last weeks, months, and years. And eventually start thinking, I can't relax. I can feel no peace. And then you look for a video called, How Do I Know If I'm in Survival Mode? Speaking of my own story with survival, there are three realities that help me come back to myself. And I call them the big three: tribe, movement, and my story. The first one is tribe. We're tribal creatures. We need connection. We need safe people where our bodies can feel, okay, I don't have to do this alone. And I really mean that. I did not overcome survival mode by myself. I needed people who could sit with me, people who could reflect things back to me, people who could help my body feel safe enough to slow down without flooding. Because this is not just about fixing systems. It's about coming home to ourselves. And a lot of the time, we need help doing that. The second reality is movement. We're made to move, to grow, to express, to put our energy somewhere. And to be honest, a lot of my own suffering came from not having a place to put my life, to put my energy. All this energy was moving through me, but it had nowhere meaningful to go. So it turned into anxiety, into overthinking, into tension. But as I started to find places to put energy, into creativity, into work that I felt mattered, into relationships, into building something beautiful, my life opened up in a really profound way. And I see this with clients too. When people reconnect with the beauty they want to create, something changes. There's joy there. There's direction there. There's movement that does not feel like running from yourself. It feels like moving with yourself. And the third reality is story. Because we do not just live from what is happening right now. We live in memory. We live from belief. We live from internal programming. We live from the stories our body learned a long time ago. And those stories matter because your story shapes behavior. Change the story and your behavior starts to change. There's a study where they took a predatory fish and its prey, but they put a clear glass wall between them. At first, the predatory fish kept ramming into the glass, trying to get to the prey over and over again, until eventually it gave up. Then they removed the glass wall, and the prey fish swam around completely unharmed because the predator had learned, I can't get there. It's an effect called the Pike syndrome. That's what disempowering thoughts can do. They become an invisible glass wall. We may technically be free, may technically have options, may technically be able to connect, create, try, move, speak, ask, build, and receive. But some story in the system says, nope, we can't go there. And that invisible wall can keep you from the nourishment of connecting with others, the joy of your art, the satisfaction of accomplishment, the life that is actually available to you. So if you see yourself in this video, start here. Reach for a tribe, find healthy movement, and begin questioning the stories that keep you trapped. And if you're looking for more support, you can click the link below to book a call.